Okay. All right. Check. All right. So, it is egg day. Might play some Diabotical. Might not. But I just wanted to get on today and talk about survival, talk about mapping as kind of a segue into a new kind of chapter for me. Um, talk about maps that I haven't released, talk about things that fell through the cracks. Still need to release this, but yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to do today. Been wanting to do this for a while now, and haven't found the time because I'm kind of trying to just relax after, what is it, like 2, 3 years of mapping for this game and survival and the whole Paradise Point thing. And that's kind of, I want to get to that later, but basically I wanted to talk about the process of making the maps, things that were planned that didn't happen, changes to maps, like the process. I wanted to do a BuilderBots United tutorial video about survival, so that way more people would work on it, could make their own maps. I might still do that. Diabotical. BuilderBots United hasn't had any like new things in a while for almost, I think, a year or two. This was what, 2 years ago, so yeah. Um, and I blame that all on my obsession with survival and trying to make survival happen. But where should I start? I want to start on the first map I ever made. Not ever made, but like, what is it? Like Posture, for example. Posture was the first map that I made, and I submitted this into the first not builder mods, but like the mapping community contest. It sucked, I guess. Let's take a look at it. Perfect. I don't have a HUD. Oh, yeah, because I was doing screenshots and stuff. This is how I do screenshots. I have a field of view and, cinematic stuff. Make sure, yeah, Machine Gun as well has it. Okay. So this was one of the first maps I made for this game. I think I started with time trials or something. Make sure it looks good. Yeah. So I what do you call it? This I don't think is that good according to people. According to the 3 stars. 3 stars like mediocre, mid, boring. But I didn't know how to make dual maps. I still don't know how to make dual maps. But there's a lot of funny Easter eggs, like this guy who shit himself. Had too much to drink, too much to eat, shit himself. But there's also, yeah, there's a lot of Easter eggs on the other versions of this map. And this is where I kind of first started to think and make Easter egg stuff. I think I made Easter egg stuff on the time trials maps, but nothing like what I was doing here. I think you can do this. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not big. I don't even think the lighting looks that great because I had no idea what I was doing. And then if you pull out, it's just kind of a lot of leftovers of what the Easter egg was. Let me see if I can remember. the name. I think it was just posture. Oh yeah, this was the blockout version of posture. Let me see if there's anything different. That teleporter isn't there in the published version. There's this under area. If anybody was around during the first contest for the mapping, I received a lot of feedback like add curves, shrink it down, stuff like that. Let me see. Edit. I want to show off the Easter egg stuff that I made. I think it was this one that has it. Is it this one? Yeah, I think it's this one. This one has the Easter egg stuff. I think. Maybe not. Or maybe it's that one. Yeah, it's that one. And this is where I first started making Easter egg stuff. And this is like platforming. Platform Easter egg. Mixed with like time trials. Wow. I don't remember. I don't know why I did that. Made it that hard to get up there. Shoot that book. Think you can melee this? No. You shoot that book, and then stuff happens around the map. So you do this whole platforming thing. Come back here, go through here. And it's like you're going around these different areas of the map where usually you wouldn't be able to have access to. But you'd have access to them during the egg. And what was this one? This was another kind of like puzzle of get to that and melee it. That up, I think you melee that. What was next after that? I mean, that's kind of the idea. And there was this one too. This one was the hardest one, where you had to like jump through all these different platforming challenges. And you could do it regularly without the time trial, but the challenge was that you needed to complete the time trial. And these opened the doors, you'd travel through, and then here would be the end of the egg. You'd get the gold, and then you got to be over here. Look at the guy who took a shit. Do you have to melee him? Yeah, you have to melee him. Go through here. This takes you up and up and up. This is kind of the end area, I guess. Reference to Sheriff Bot. And yeah, that was it. But the secret, if you completed the time trial, was like an extra challenge, I guess. I really don't remember what the hell I was smoking when I was doing this. You had to shoot that. I thought there was something there you had to shoot too. Oh, yep. And the second challenge was this. Imagine that. You did the time trial challenge, you fuck up, fall off, you gotta restart. But that was kind of the idea. Go through that. I think there was some lore to this. I'm trying to remember. I couldn't tell you. And then, oh yeah, it's not even done. I guess there was some kind of lore thing. And then you're on the outside, you get sent up. Great job, you did it. So that was like the first Easter egg, like, quest side thing that I did, which led to me doing survival stuff, which Star Station obviously was the first um, survival map I did that had a full quest. Where the hell is it? I think I recently published an update. That's why it's all the way up here somewhere. There it is. But what I wanted to show with Star Station was like the progression and like how it changed and what it was going to look like at first, what I wanted to do, how survival and the editor is like limited. Um, and all that. Hold on, give me a second here. Um, so yeah, Star Station. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this one. Had like, in terms of COD zombies, what I consider this map to be is like, um, what did I call it? I called it like an Origins, where the egg is super fucking hard. The quest for this map is super hard and like abstract. Oh no, I think I called it like a Revelations. Because that egg for COD Zombies is super abstract. Super weird. But like I had no idea how to do eggs at this point. I had no idea how to make a quest at this point. So kind of just winging it. There's a lot of abstract stuff, and I think there's eggs that people still don't know about, like this door. No one knows how to open that door. Of course, I know. Like, I'm not gonna tell you how to do it. I mean, that's like I have an impossible quest right now for a dual map called Nebula, but that one is an impossible quest that's actually easier than Nebula. It's not as cryptic. It's just, you just don't know how to do it. But yeah, like this stuff, you shoot the stars. The whole quest for this. So let me see. Was it? What did I call it? Reborn. What is it? Survival Reborn. Is that what it's called? Nah. What was it called? This was Reborn Survival. Whoops. I think this is it. Yeah. Okay. So this is like the first. I think this is just a block out of Star Station. This is like a general idea of what I wanted. Oh God, it looks bad. It's because they changed this texture. This texture is horrible. I don't know why they did that, but anyway, I don't want to get caught up on that. This isn't. There should be an earlier version where there's like a pyramid-looking thing here. Yeah. But the whole idea was that I wanted this to be the, obviously like COD Zombie style, where the first thing you open is the door, and then you go through, and you're kind of stuck in this main area. I think this remained closed. Yeah, there was a pathway here, closed, and these doors would be closed, and you had to like, what was it? Go up here, activate the switch, the door would open, and activate that. It would open slowly, so you'd have to sit here and kind of defend while it opens. Um, get through. There are like flooding in. But the problem with this was that I was like, okay, that's cool. That would be kind of like a cool, like progressive thing. But the problem was with the survival mode is that the spawns don't work the same way they do in like COD Zombies, where you have kind of like a spawn area. Like this would be like if this door was closed, this would be kind of the start area. It would be cool to have zombies kind of coming from here over this fence or whatever, and they're flooding you here, sort of so to speak. And you want to be like, oh, how do I get out of here? You'd hit the door, go through, and then now they're spawning in these little areas. So it's like they don't spawn here until you open the door and enter the area, and that would trigger like the area to be active, so to speak. I'm trying to remember how it works in zombies and like the dev side of things. I just know that there's like sections, and that if you enter a section, the spawns kind of activate, so to speak. And even when it comes to like, excuse me, like players that are in an area, they don't spawn in another area unless you're like near it or something. Like the game tries to predict where you're gonna go. If you're running towards, like let's say you opened this room and you're running towards that spawn area back over here, it would try to predict that, oh, maybe you're going to go into the spawn area, so it would probably spawn some guys in there just in case. Like adjacent rooms, depending on where the player was, would have spawns active or inactive. But yeah, that didn't work. It doesn't work like that in here. Basically, you place the spawns. Are there any spawns? No. You place the spawns, and they all just kind of spawn everywhere. That's how survival works. That's why you can't have like doors that open and there are spawns in another room, because the door will be closed. You'll start the match. They'll be spawning in the other room. The biggest problem with survival is that the spawn system isn't separate from the main game. Like in my mind, survival needs its own kind of spawn system and settings and like just its whole, it needs its own thing, right? Like to me that's what it needs. And so because it doesn't work like that, because it's actually connected to the PvP spawn system, like if you're near this spawn, it's not likely they'll spawn there. But I was able to convince, I think, Raven to adjust that where it would have a chance to spawn near you. And it sucks because the spawn values in this game, I don't know how they work exactly. I tried to fiddle with them to get a good balance. I couldn't make two ways of it. But yeah, this idea didn't work because this door would be closed. I wanted spawns down here. I wanted spawns in a lot of closed rooms where you'd open them and you'd progressively kind of, you know, see new areas, new spawns. Um, but yeah, this is an early build of the map, block out ideas of like, well, what's gonna happen here? What do I want this to look like, and all this shite. None of this was fully thought of yet. But that was kind of the early idea of how do I get survival to work? You know? Um, it basically turned into me saying, you know, fuck it. The whole map's going to be open. I wanted this to open too somehow. I'm not sure what I wanted to do with this. Some kind of maybe the Easter egg leads to that door opening or something. But basically, I decided the whole thing just has to be a big open map. And the rooms you open, there are no spawns in there. But the zombots will follow you into there. And so I had to build the map in a way where the doors wouldn't block pathing. Um, so that when you open the doors, they'll just naturally follow you. Because I think, like, you know, if you set a clip or a door prop to be, this fucking music, I hate it. Like, the music's cool, but I hate loading into this map because it just blares. But if you set a door prop to, what is it, full clip or something, and it blocks the path, when you run navigation, it won't path into the area because it's considering it like a clip. So it's blocking the area. You won't be able to go into it. Or the zombots won't be able to go into it. So you have to kind of like... I'll go into this when I reach Cabin in the Canyons, because that's when I had to really think about it. And even... Actually, Zweihauser's when I had to think about it. But speaking of Zweihauser, let's move on to that map. So Zweihauser was the next survival map I worked on. And I'm going to show off a lot of these unfinished maps like Die Hex. I'm going to talk about them. No, not that one. And Star Station still has one Easter egg unsolved. So if you're looking for something to do, there's plenty of Easter eggs to work on to solve in survival. Um, where is it? Zweihauser. Aim Arena. I wish I could like. I'm looking for survival maps. Only show me survival maps, kind of thing. Or like, search Zweihauser and the maps will pop up. There it is. So, Zweihauser being the next map. When I first made Star Station, there was no intention of making like multiple maps. It was just gonna be Star Station, and then that was it. Because I didn't know what I was doing with Star Station. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So when I made this, it was decided like, okay, I'm gonna do 5 maps, and I had planned out kind of the idea of the lore for each map, how it progresses, and like the whole general story. It's kind of thought out after Star Station. After the feedback came in and it was like pretty popular or like relatively well received, I decided I would do the 5 maps. And like I said, I had planned out, okay, after Zweihauser or after Star Station, we would go to the moon. And this is, because on Star Station you see the giant moon, you see the planet. So I was thinking it'd be cool to end up on the moon and then look at like the planet. And what I liked about this was that this was actually a planet kind of prop. I think this is just a smoke with a different texture, but yeah, it looked cool. So I thought this would be a cool kind of segue into like continuity with each map. But let me see if I can find. I think it's Snow Terrain. I wanted to show kind of like, what is it, like an alpha version of this map? Because it was really big and didn't work at all. Look at how long it's taking to load. I mean, Jesus. And this had a lot of frame issues because of that. The one thing about the editor you need to know is you don't want to put blocks across the map because that causes frame issues. And we'll see if there's frame issues here still. So here's the like super early version of Zweihauser, and I think there are kind of like small frame issues. As you can see, completely unfinished, undone. Is it over there? Yep, it's over there. Okay, this is cool. So when I did Star Station, there was like a start area, and I was like, okay, survival should have like a start area, and then you get into the map and you start playing. And I still did that in the original, or the released Zweihauser. But this one, I did a lot of work on it before I realized this isn't working. What's... Oh, yeah, the cube. Okay. And there was a cube. Just the egg. Where is everything? I thought... Yeah, basically the idea was that lore-wise, you crash land here after Star Station ends. The whole idea was that you blew up Star Station right at the end. So there's like kind of, debris and stuff everywhere that landed on the moon, and you're here now on the moon. Um, and this would be kind of the starting area. The idea was that this is like a checkpoint to getting to the castle. Like as far as lore goes, that was the idea. And I think there was quite a few like, yeah, Easter egg things you could do here. I don't, I couldn't tell you what they were. I thought there was something behind here. No, definitely something there. But yeah, tons of Easter egg stuff that you could do here that I think would open this up. And was there something you could trigger here? Oh, it's not even in this build, I don't think. No. Oh, basically, you'd come out here after completing an egg, a giant robot would rise up. And you'd get this cool, like, visual of, like, that robot. Oh, look at that. That's cool. I forgot that. There's a lot of shit I forgot about this. But anyway, this was the start area. You go in, and you'd be in the map. All this is different. I had to change all this because I think I released a beta version and people would get up here and kind of just stand up here, chill out. Um, Trying to see. I think all this changed. Like that wasn't there. This changed. Oh yeah, the upstairs. Okay, so this is part of like the whole Zombot problem with survival. I wanted this whole map to be very like big and just a huge map. Yeah, there's all this stuff too. Holy crap. Forgot about all this. Downstairs. So, okay. The quest for this initially was going to be about you, I think, same like start where you would have to get those things. What do we want to call these things? Like power sources. And then you'd hit these buttons that would come out. But I think instead of opening this door, basically somehow this door would open. I fucking don't remember. You'd get up here and there'd be kind of like more Easter egg stuff for you to do. And you'd have to light this. Oh, the switch. It, it just doesn't work. It's not here. But you'd have to light this up. You'd have to do a lot of shit. There was something in here that would spawn. No idea. You'd end up over here. Oh, this was cool. You'd end up over here somehow. Again, the biggest problem with all this stuff was the fact that the Zombots couldn't path. See how high this is? Like, this is too much for the Zombots. If you're all the way up here, let's just say, and they spawn down here, you're too high up. They can't follow you. They're gonna think you're on another kind of like platform that's really high in the sky. They aren't pathing to you. So that I had to cut this whole thing had to be cut. I think yeah, I kept this in the final version though. Oops, shit, Jesus. Um, and you'd come down here. You'd see what is this, fire frog? You'd be able to come back into here. I think this was. Oh yeah, this was different too. This was a lot smaller in this version. So yeah, it was there was a lot more I wanted to do, and this hadn't even been done. Oh yeah, this was completely different too. Good God, this was just going to be like, here's your power ups. Yeah, here's your power ups. Grab them, keep playing. In the obviously in the final version, this is like a whole room of stuff. But yeah, and then the whole other thing about this egg was this complete other area that was going to be like, because in Star Station you see rockets kind of around the map. If you look out the windows, one of them was flying towards the moon. So I thought it'd be funny to be like, okay, here's where it landed, and when you're over here, you can see the rocket over there, right? You see like, oh shit, that's where it landed. But then you get to a point in the quest where you'll actually eventually end up here, and you'll be in the rocket, wherever the rocket landed. The whole point of this, lore-wise, was to explain that on the moon is where the team Raven and Firefrog were based on the moon, creating stuff and the castle nest and all this stuff. But that's where they found the crystal deposits, which is how they realized that the crystals were related to like the armors and the healing and um like they were power sources and energy sources. The whole point of that is basically to explain that the mainframe has all that stuff as kind of like material to build things like the armor shards, like power ups. They were using these crystals as a baseline to create that. Um, I think there's a jump challenge here too. Fuck. Oh, oh yeah, bounty secured, just like Star Station. That's what Star Station said when you got the. Oh God, controls are like slippery as hell. Not good for platforming. Oh man. Yeah, this is. I'm glad this got cut because this is bad. Okay, I can walk through that. Jesus, I just want to try this. At some point, I thought this was doable. Oh, oh, okay. Let's see if I can get up here. This was made because I loved stuff like this in like Half-Life. There was a few things in Half-Life where you could do this. Where do you go from here? Oh yeah, you need to get over there somehow. Half-Life had a few things like this. There were like some jump challenges. I have no idea where to go here. Oh wait, I think you're supposed to jump down here. Yeah, and then you gotta go over there somehow. Basically, you'd end up here. This is stupid. This is dumb. I don't know why I did this. Terrible. Just terrible. Ah, just get me up here. I just want to see like the whole pad. This is like ridiculously convoluted, which is like on brand for me. Oh, you could just walk through that. Where the hell would you go from here? You have to make that jump? Good God. Nope. Anyway, get up here somehow, trigger things. Oh, I think this would trigger the power-ups, because they're color-coded for the power-ups. It was Siphonator and Vanguard. Really dumb stuff. I'm glad this got cut from the final map. This was just terrible. So yeah, that's like alpha, beta, whatever, Zweighauser. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's different about this map. I don't think so. Oh yeah, the giant rocket isn't here. That's a pretty big deal. That's like the end area of like the original or the published version of the map. And there's no like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's not here. That's like I really like the final version that I released. It's a lot better. It's a lot more like, as far as the egg goes, a lot better. and I think it just looks better. This obviously isn't finished, but still, I don't think this would have worked out as well. So that's Zweihaus. Um, and with Zweihaus, I think I released Site 24 Antithesis and was it Gateway? I don't know. What is it? Zweihaus has one Easter egg still in it. Like there's only one main quest and one side quest on Zweihaus. Because I don't know why. I just didn't have any like ideas for Zweihaus to make side quests. Nowadays, I probably would have made something like a lot more deep and extended, like I did with Paradise Point. But if you're looking for Easter eggs you want to do today, Zweihaus has one. It's really small, and I think you have to do part of the main quest to get to a room where there's a trigger. Site 24 has, I think, two side quests. There is no main quest. Antithesis, there's nothing. Conflux, I call that my Vanguard map, my COD Zombies Vanguard map because it's only got 2 stars. There's like a little Easter egg in there, nothing crazy. It's cool. I wanted to do a boss fight for Conflux, but I had no idea how to do that at that time. And Star Station has one side quest that's like kind of impossible, but not really. So now we do Cabin in the Canyons. Cabin in the Canyons was like a tribute map that I made for my late kitty that kind of like gone too soon kind of thing. Oh God, I forgot. I hate this. Like I hate this. The shadows are all disgusting now. It's like devs, where are you at? And come on, you're making me look like a fool here. Anyway, God damn it. It's kind of why I'm moving on, because it's like what I can't do this anymore. I can't deal with this anymore. Gotta move on to something else creatively. There is no kind of like beta version of this map, although I think there's a dual version. Cabin. Maybe that looks a little bit like Bear. Deep Hauser. Is this a dual version? Yeah, there's a giant wall here to block you from going into that extra area. So with Star Station and Zweihaus, I made them time trials compatible in various ways. This is kind of like an early build because there's things in here that like aren't in the main map, but it's still like for the most part finished. And I was gonna release this, but I didn't. Things are just kind of open. There's no power. There's no Easter egg stuff to do. I'd release this just to like have people so that way they can play it, but I don't think it's a good dual map, and that's partly why I didn't want to release it because it's not that good of a dual map. I think it's a fine survival map, but for dual this probably wouldn't work. I mean, I don't know. A lot of the Easter eggs are disabled, so that way it doesn't interfere with the duel. That should not look like that. Yeah. But edit issue cabin. Oh, is it cabin or canyon? I think it's canyon. So yeah, this map was like a tribute to my cat, who, like I said, gone too soon, kind of thing. And so a lot of the side quests was based on the kitty. A lot of the like this whole top area, people are like, I'm sure like, why is this here? Why is the roof covered in like all this stuff? Because I was trying to do it like a mini tribute to my kitty. Um, I'm pretty sure people solved this side quest, so that's not there. Let me think. I think there's like 2 or 3 side quests here that you could probably still do. There's the toaster one. I think people got that one started and couldn't finish it. And then there's 2 more. Oh no, there's actually 3 more. There's one involving Sheriff Bot that people didn't figure out, I don't think. Um, this one I think is like the nicest looking one because I had no idea how to do lighting, but I think I did an okay job. Those boxes out there are pretty much lights that were trying to like create the illusion of a sunset or like the sun shining and all that. Um, Lore wise, this map is referenced in the Curious Little Eggbot. The cabin in the canyons is referenced in the Curious Little Eggbot as a place where people or the Eggbots would go to like train and get better at being duelists. That's why these rooms are here, because the idea was that this was like a shooting range, a virtual shooting range. Here you go. It was like the weapon's connected to a machine that has bullets, like real bullets. I don't. If you're shooting real bullets at a screen, you know what sense does that make? It should have been something else, but it's like it's just something I thought of on the fly, as like just to relate it to the story I made. Um, and that's why I wanted to do a dual version, because that way it's like this is where people would practice dueling each other. I think I said in the story that they would practice it in this kind of like open area here. Like they would come out here. I think the whole idea was that this area was like the practice area where people would kind of have like the aim arena situation. They'd have one-on-one combat. Lore wise, though, that is all replaced with all this giant machinery. Basically, lore wise, for survival, not Curious Little Egg, this area was supposed to be kind of like not a home base, but like the connection between Star Station and this planet. So, Star Station was supposed to be a giant ship that traveled the stars, converting planets into arena planets, where the Eggbots would combat and all this stuff. And the idea behind that was that Too Good in the story, the Weeball, would be kind of locking down planets and having control over them using Reborn Industries as a front. And eventually, Too Good wanted to find paradise, because that's kind of the joke in the community is Too Good's going to get on his yacht and sail off to his island or something, right? And so this whole survival story is kind of playing into that joke, where in this case, the yacht is Star Station, and he's going from island to island or planet to planet trying to find the perfect place to like settle down and let Reborn Industries act as the front. The admin at the end of the Curious Little Eggbot is GiveBot, and so the admin would be handling everything. Uh, Kind of like a manager handles a store or a workplace, and then the boss sits on ass and kind of like will come in every now and then to check on things. It's kind of what Too Good wanted in the story. So this was going to be the connection to Star Station. That's why these satellites are set up. They were going to have 3 satellites powering up one, and then it would kind of wherever Star Station was, it would be able to connect using the crystals as like a hyper power source. Um, but the map itself, survival, what ends up happening is, it obviously gets overrun with zombots, and the tower here, the giant tower, you power it up and you send the virus into the stars. That's kind of what you do at the end of the quest. I think you activate it here when you're done, and it'll shoot the beam from the giant tower into space. And the idea is that you're removing the virus from the cabin and sending it somewhere. You don't know where, as a player, where it's going. You're just kind of sending it somewhere. Obviously, once you do that, my thing would be like stop spawning all zombots to be like, and kill all zombots maybe too. So that way it's kind of like, hey, you did it. Great job. Zombots aren't at the cabin anymore. Now you're just walking around an empty map. And that would give you time to realize, oh, this pathway is open. I can leave the map. I can just leave, and then maybe you'd find this. I think this takes you into here. You'd realize, oh, something's here, and then these would be kind of like progression, where you had to get each one filled with their corresponding power-ups. If you played this map, if you played the Easter egg, you knew that in order to unlock power-ups, you had to complete like these series of quests to basically unlock a power-up. And then eventually you'd go into here and you'd get the to be continued, and that would be kind of the end of the egg. And then you can leave back here. It would be cooler if when you did that, like all the Zombots stop, you go into there, you have it all done, you go in, and then it ends and it shows to be continued, and then the map just shows you victory. That's what I would have really wanted. Because I like the idea of you playing a survival map, and like a casual who would play survival would be like, oh, it's just a mode about where you the only way to end it is to die. But I don't want to die. I want to get to the highest round or the highest wave. I want a leaderboard, whatever. But then there's players who would be like, oh, let's solve the quest, let's solve the Easter egg. They get to the end and they get a victory screen. And so that way when you go into like, what is it, like your profile, go to matches, you can see, oh, I played survival mode, but I got a win result. I beat the map. And like that's cool to me. I think, do I have one here? Nah. You see like forfeit or like you'd come in second, it would say second for survival. Um, like here it would say win. Like that would be cool to me. That's really cool because um, you would think the mode is just, oh, I die, but no, there's like an end to the map. So yeah, that's Cabin in the Canyons. I think 3 Easter eggs if you want to play that one. Side quests. Some of them might require um, main quest completion, progression, in order to get to certain areas to interact with things. High maintenance. I'll go into this a little bit since it's kind of it's an original map. After this, I'm gonna hit the restroom real quick. This map was inspired by COD Zombies, big time. Black Ops 2's map, Die Rise. I would actually love to show like a picture of Die Rise, just so you guys can see where the inspiration is coming from. Zombies, Die Rise. Die Rise is similar, takes place in a high rise. That's why they call it a Die Rise. I think it's a play on to the PvP map called High Rise. If my internet will work here, I could try to get the map image. But in COD Zombies, it took place in China. You had this huge singular tower, and then you had another one next to it. And what they did is they took the giant tower and broke it in half so that the top part was kind of hanging over. So it seemed like you had 3 towers, but instead it was just one big tower cut in half and then it was hanging off the side. So you were able to be in the main tower and jump to this one and then jump to the other one. So you had like 3 areas, each with floors that you could kind of go between. There was like an elevator system that had like the perks, power ups, and stuff like that that you could ride to the top. Um, and it had a buildable called the trample steam, which would launch you between buildings. There's fall damage, and the idea was that there were these little mattresses that you could land on in the map. Like if you used the trample steam, if you didn't land on a mattress, you'd probably take fall damage and die. But if you landed on the mattress, you wouldn't take fall damage. I'm not able to get the picture, but it was a really cool map. If you want to look it up, definitely look it up. It looks beautiful. It had meteors falling from the sky. Obviously, I tried to recreate that here. Um, this giant orange boulder was supposed to be a meteor. This is supposed to be a meteor, giant meteor here, and I just tried to make a simple map, but that had that inspiration. like this building toppled over and hit this building, and it has like a landing pad um, that you can wall run on this kind of. And if you don't do it right, you'll fall off. So it's like you almost have to know how to do a bit of strafe jumping. And this was cool too, the fact that you could land on that and get launched. And this was like a huge map about learning to jump properly to avoid zombots or like rocket launching or rocket jumping. Like this, that was the whole point of this map, was to teach people how to do shit like that properly. Like that wasn't good, but you can basically cross that. You can cross that whole thing if you do the jump properly. Ah, I want to try this. I actually really like this. This is actually a good training map. There you go. See, if you do that properly, I think you have to do some half skips. That is a great training thing for like a new player. You say just go into high maintenance, start in this corner, and if you can cross this jump properly, then you can kind of say you've mastered, for the most part, strafe jumping. And then try it while zombies are after you, zombots. It's the sickest thing. But for casuals who can't do it, boom. Simple little jump right there, and then you're here, you're defending yourself, and you're like, all right, I'm out. Oh, I fucked up there. But there you go. That was the cool thing about this map, is there was a lot of dynamic ways to avoid getting attacked, and I tried to do a lot of things like this. This doesn't work that well. If there's anything I want to go back and fix, it's this. This does not work very well at all. There we go. It's finicky. And then this thing kind of works. I think it's also kind of finicky too, though. It has a cooldown too, which is pretty cool. Doesn't work that well. There is kind of a main quest on this map if you're like interested in that. There's a few side quests as well. Trying to think how many side quests. Like, I think there's about like 3 side quests. And trust me, I think this one is funny because it has the weirdest side quest that I've ever made. Like, super just weird. Like, it's not like the normal side quest where it's like really part of the lore. Even the main quest in this isn't really part of the lore. I wanted it to. I wanted to introduce new characters, a new story that kind of happens while the main quest story happens. So you'd have Extinction Group doing their thing, and then you'd have things happening around the world that would kind of happen in tangent with that. This map is supposed to take place immediately after Star Station explodes. The force of the explosion causes like an earthquake or like, you know, something like that to happen here in this city. This is supposed to be City Plaza. And then the meteors start falling. So it's just like hell on Earth kind of thing, or hell on Eggbot planet. We're not on Earth yet. And then there's some like visual Easter eggs that I'll just tell you about. I doubt you'd see it. So this is supposed to be like the solar system. You have the big red sun here, a planet here, a planet there with 2 moons, a planet here with 1 moon, a red planet, 2 moons. And then here's a little planet over here. Just a fun little visual Easter egg that you probably wouldn't easily notice. But and that's supposed to be where Zweihaus takes place. That's why the birds are there. Those 2 birds are on Zweihaus as a reference. And then you'd have the red planet or the orange planet. I don't think there's any other visual Easter eggs. Oh, I think this is an Easter egg. I'll just show you. This is a just basic Easter egg. Like really simple. Nothing too crazy. Just like knock it over. I think there's a COD Zombies thing where you can do that. And there's like nothing important where that's all you do. You just knock something over. And then it shows you something else. I think that's it for this map though. There's not much else to say. Just a lot of this was a lot of fun to make though. It doesn't look that great, but it was just a lot of fun to make because I love what was it, Die Rise. So let me load up what's the next map? The next map is the archive, I think, which still has an unsolved main quest. I'm gonna load this up. I'm gonna hit the restroom real quick, and I'll come back and I'll talk more about um, survival and all this fun stuff. And maybe we'll play some Diabotical. Maybe I'll play something else. It depends. Maybe I'll host some survival if people want to come and try the new map. We'll see. But I'll be right back. Okay, we're back talking about survival. This fun journey called survival. The archive. We're on the archive now. We talked about Start Station, talked about Zweihauser, talked about Cabin in the Canyons, talked about High Maintenance. Which, by the way, High Maintenance, the name for High Maintenance is a reference to Die Rise. I think the main quest for Die Rise, because Die Rise and Black Ops 2, each map has like 2 divergent main quests, where you can either play on the side of Maxis or Richthofen. So there's basically 2 main quests. And I think High Maintenance is the achievement name for Richthofen's side. I think. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen that, like, achievement or played that game. I want to go back and play that game. They're doing some amazing stuff, the modding community. Anyway, the archive. This quest, the main quest for this map, still unsolved. I think everything here is still unsolved. Side quests, main quests. Let me check how many quests there are. I think there is something like, I want to say like 6 or 7 like total quests, including the main quest. And I have everything written down too. That's what's nice. So people who come up and they're like, "Hey, did I solve this?" I can confirm for you. 6 side quests. So I think 7 total quests. Yes. So there's the main quest and then 6 side quests. I need to create an achievement list for all these maps because these are they're basically named like achievements, like side quest. All the fools sailed away. Archived 1, archived 2. Dead rat, not forgotten. Wisdom of the Guffin. uh, but yeah, so that's that for this map. We're moving on. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to talk about this for a little bit. This map was supposed to be a lot bigger. Again, this map was supposed to be a lot more ambitious. As you can see, it's referencing previous maps that we've done: Cabin, Star Station, Zweihaus. And obviously the whole idea is this is the archive, you're in the archive, these maps are archived. But it's actually a bigger story than that. This is the map where we introduce the character, the Rat. And the Rat is supposed to be this kind of story that is happening in the background of survival. As the lore happens with Extinction Group, there's this kind of sub story that takes place before survival begins, and it involves the rat, and it involves Too Good, the character, the Weeball, doing biological testing with the mainframe and using the rat as a test subject. And the whole idea is, can the mainframe, I mean, we all know the mainframe can fabricate parts, egg bots, power ups, and if you want to include the editor as like, or the edit pad as part of the lore, then that is the edit pad's connected to the mainframe, so it can create plants, it can create flowers, grass, it can create a lot of things. And manifest them and fabricate them. So the idea was that Too Good wanted to know, can we fabricate biological beings from the mainframe? Like, how strong is the mainframe? And so that's what we tried to kind of, that's what I tried to kind of think about here and explore with the lore. And this is all a manifestation of the rat. The rat has been at Star Station. The rat has been at Cabin in the Canyons. The rat has been at Zweihaus. If you've played the main quest for Zweihaus, you know there's a part where you see a dead rat that's been kind of like stabbed, so to speak. And again, like the design of the rat, it doesn't look exactly like a rat. It has to be, you have to use your imagination for part of it. But that you see that in Zweihaus. And the lore is that with the rat is that the rat starts and exists in the canyons. The canyons is where the rat lives, and Sheriff Bot came across the rat and kind of adopted it and used it. Didn't use it necessarily, but kind of kept it as a pet. If you've played Cabin in the Canyons, you'll see a lot of cats and stuff. The lore for that is that Sheriff Bot had a lot of pets, cat pets. He had rats, just a lot of animals and pets. So what happens is Too Good shows up at the cabin and sets up the whole, we want to use the cabin as like a home base for Star Station. Sets that up with Sheriff Bot, sees the rat and says, "Oh, hey, can I use this rat? Can I take it off your hands and like use it for stuff?" And Sheriff Bot basically says, "Yes, as long as you bring him back in one piece," and all that stuff. Too Good goes off and takes the rat to Star Station, which at that point is kind of stationed off the side of the moon, and there's kind of a lore reason for that. They don't want to take off in Star Station without having some kind of protection for the planet, which is why on Zweihaus, the moon, they're building these giant robots. Um, so that way, when they leave, the giant robots are there to protect the planet in case any catastrophic thing happens. So he takes the rat to Star Station, conducts tests. He's like abusing the rat in various ways, taking skin samples, doing various tests. And then he's done with the rat. He's like, we've got what we need. So I have no use for this rat, but I can't take it back to Sheriff Bot because look at the condition he's in. He's messed up, and Sheriff Bot would get mad. So what Too Good decides to do is he decides to take the rat and dump it with Raven and Firefrog at Castle Nest in Zweihaus. So that's how the rat goes from Cabin to Star Station to Zweihaus. And so there the rat kind of develops a friendship with, I think, Raven and Firefrog, and it's taken care of and all this stuff, and stuff ends up happening with the lore where there's a lot of extra stuff. I'm gonna write all this out, by the way. If anybody's really interested about like the intricacies of the lore, I have it all written out in like a Google Doc. I'm gonna release that sometime, not anytime soon. Like I really don't want to work on it, to be honest. There's a few things I still need to write, and it's like I really just kind of want to step away from survival for a little bit. All I do is think about it when I'm here. But there is like a full kind of story that connects each map, and it's all detailed. That has all this crap. Um, that if you're into that, I have that for you. But that's how the rat gets from place to place, and that's how when the rat finally dies, instead of like its spirit moving on, it ends up in the archive, and this is why all this is here. Um, so the thing about this map, aside from the lore, as far as like the design, this was you were supposed to be able to go into Zweihaus and you had like a part of the full map. You were able to go up here and go into here. This was all going to be accessible. Excuse me. There's actually a secret room in here. You were going to be able to go into here, walk along here, and come out here. That's an Easter egg side quest that is still, I think, for the most part, unsolved. I might have solved that for someone just because it's a tribute. This is a visual Easter egg of like some lore stuff that I created at the time. This might have been kind of changed, but not really. You know, it was all development. But basically, this whole area was you were supposed to have access to. There was a giant like cliffside. There was going to be stairs leading from here up to here, and you were going to be able to like walk around up here, go into here, come out here. It was going to be a big map, and then cabin was going to be fully accessible. All the windows that are boarded up. This was supposed to be an entrance. It was going to be partially accessible. There's probably going to be a jump challenge here to get something. Um, I didn't like the way this looked though. Like the wood doesn't really match the wood on the side, so I didn't really like the way that looked. These are here because, like I said, this was supposed to be just like this area. Um, you'd put power sources and stuff here, and there was going to just be this whole thing. I think Star Station was going to be a bit bigger too. There was going to be like kind of a second story. I think, yeah, right here, there was going to be a second story, teleporters and stuff, lots of stuff. That's another side quest that you just saw. But this was supposed to be a much bigger map and a much more ambitious map. And even in the current state, it was difficult to have zombots running around. So that's why this center area is the only area that has spawns on the map. As explained in, I think if you were here when I was talking about Star Station, I was explaining that the AI is super primitive and it doesn't really follow you properly. Like, even in Zweihaus, like I said, if you're too high up in the sky, like I think this stairs is just high enough that they'll follow you. But any higher, and they would probably not follow you because it's just too high. That they think you're like, even if the pathing is set up that they can go up there, it's just too high. They can't. They don't know where you are for some reason. I honestly couldn't tell you. It's just the way they were designed that they don't follow you. Um, but yeah, that's why they're all in the center, because if I had spawns over here and you were located in Zweihaus, they probably wouldn't start chasing you. You're too far away. They would just stand there and run in place. So the balance was that no matter where you are on the map, if they spawned in the center, they would funnel outwards towards you. Um, and it kind of works. There's some moments where I think it doesn't work, but it's like it's as good as it's gonna get. Um, but yeah, I really like this map. I think it's really cool. This is definitely design wise like Revelations if you've played Black Ops 3 Zombies, If you played Revelations or seen the map Revelations, it's exactly what this map is doing, where they have past maps in one map, except in Revelations they had like, oh my god, so many references to like past zombies maps in one map. It was a great map, but the Easter egg was super abstract. This Easter egg, it's kind of abstract, not super abstract. Like obviously it's not solved yet, so maybe it is too abstract. I couldn't tell you. Um, and Firefrog is here lore wise. The idea is from Zweihausser. He ends up here. He goes through the portal that you open up in the sky. Again, I wrote it all out. If you really want to know why all of this is the way it is, you can read that once I finally release it. But yeah, this was a lot of fun to make because of how abstract it is, and I love abstract stuff. So, I wanted to check if there's like, I don't think there is an old version of this map. At this point, I think I stopped saving them. I can't even think of a name that I used for that. So that was the archive. End cutscene. Maybe we'll talk about that later. Maybe. And now we're on to Paradise Point. So we're going to talk about Paradise Point for a little bit. But then I want to talk about like Bado Numa, Notched Unmentioned, Corrupt, Dihex. I want to talk about those maps because they were supposed to be released with Paradise Point, and I want to go into like why they weren't released and like the whole process of Survival 2.0 because Survival 2.0 effectively killed me. But let's go into Paradise Point first. We'll wrap up the 5 map kind of discussion. So this is the last map I made and that I'm going to make. Any maps that I make that are like, if I ever release something in the future, it's probably me just like finishing something or like if anybody wants like their PvP maps remixed into a survival map, like I'm more than happy to do that. Um, but yeah, this is Paradise Point. I think there's like some frame crap going on here. Yeah, this one was really hard to do, like, to make it just right. I think the frames are only because I'm streaming. When I play this, it's usually around 90, 100 frames, or when I tested it and ran through it a couple times, so I'm pretty sure the frames are at about 90, 100 regularly. I think this is just because I'm streaming that it's kind of fallen below the wayside there. But this was a crazy map to make. This was a lot of work because of the main quest. There is a boss fight on this map, and it's the finale to the main quest, basically. And at a certain point, the quests, you hit a fork in the road with the quest, and you can take 2 paths. Um, so there's 2 endings. One ending leads you to the boss fight finale. The other ending kind of, you don't get a boss fight finale with the other one. Um, and the whole idea is that because there's 2 endings, you as the player get to decide what do you want the canon ending to be and what do you want like the story to wrap up with. Because for the most part, the story with this map is wrapped up. And I'm speaking exclusively for the Extinction Group saga, right? Like that's my story. It follows Extinction Group. It follows their journey between maps. Um, and that's my telling of survival. And their story for Extinction Group wraps up with this map. And you decide how it ends for Extinction Group. Um, After this map, like the story continues, but Extinction Group isn't really like used anymore. Um, like Extinction Group would be used for other things in the story. They wouldn't be used to have maps like this where there's 4 Extinction Group members doing something. They would be used in a different way. And the story after this map, I know I'm saying you decide the canon ending. I'm saying that because I'm done telling the story. There's a lot more to like the overall story, the universe. I've developed this huge universe. I've developed a lot of like prologue stuff that happens before the egg bots even exist. I've developed a lot of stuff that happens with survival after this map. But because I'm done making survival maps, that story is going to be kind of put on the back burner and not told. Because the idea is, one day I might be able to tell that story, but then again, I might not be able to tell that story. So to me, it's best that we just end it here. You decide how it ends. I have a whole fucking plethora of like lore and storytelling that is not being said and that I'm not going to talk about just to have in my pocket. Um, maybe in the future something will happen and I'll be able to tell that story. But that's the thing that I want to have as like an insurance policy, that the story isn't completely out there. There's a lot that still isn't told yet. And at this point, the main story that I've been working on with Extinction Group is done. Um, but yeah, I want to talk about a lot of stuff, but a lot of it relates to the main quest and like the joy of like, oh my god, this is here in the map and this character's here, and like I want to leave that to people who still want to discover the Easter egg or the main quest and figure all that out. So you can have your own interpretation of the story and your own idea of what's happening. But this map was really hard. I created a power system where you need to turn on the power to use these perk machines. The power system is related to the main quest. Really quick, if you don't know where the power system is, I'll help you out. It's right here. Power on. Um, opens that up. That gets you started on the main quest. Trying to think. Smiley box. I guess this is a good way to segue into Survival 2.0 because I don't want to talk about this map too much. It's just been released. It's fresh out the oven. I want everybody who likes to hunt for Easter eggs, who wants to do all that side quests, main quest stuff. Here's a brand new map for you to do all that. Like I said, the other maps, they have their own side quests still unsolved. The archive still has a main quest unsolved and side quests unsolved. So there's stuff to do. And really quick, this map, as you saw in the content creator back here, has an end cutscene that I made. I'm not going to show this because you'll see it if you complete the main quest. And it's dependent on choosing the right path when you hit the fork in the road. So if you choose the right path, get the right ending, I have a video that I'm going to release on my YouTube channel, and then I'll post to the Survival Discord that has this map. And I'll release this map too, so that way you guys can look at it and see all the shit that I did. But it has an end cutscene. It's basically like a minute or two of just visuals. I tried to get voice lines for this cutscene, didn't work out, but it's a visual representation of how the story ends for Extinction Group. So that way you have a kind of idea of how like you want your headcanon to be, right? And then the rest of it is just credits. It's just a song that I made for the end credits, and it's basically a self-stroke where it's like, hey, I did all this shit. I did Star Station, I did the QA testing, or not the QA testing, but I did a bunch of shit. So that's basically what the end cutscene is. A few minutes of visual stuff happening, and then just a long credit sequence. Um, but then there is an end cutscene for the other ending too. It doesn't have a map. It's its own thing. basically. So, survival versus beta, we'll talk about that too later. Survival 2.0. We're gonna get into a lot of this stuff. Infection, Hellmouth, all these other maps. Nebula, I want to talk about. But let's talk about Survival 2.0. So Survival 2.0, I released that with Halloween 2022, and the map pack that I released with that was Dissension, Thunder, and Halloween 2022. Fun fact, Halloween 2022, Dissension, and Thunder all have Easter egg quests. They're not super big. I think Dissension has a small quest. Thunder has a small quest. And Halloween 2022, I think it has a side quest too. But I think for the most part, they all just have like one main quest that I think gives you access to the Pack-a-Punch, the Oval Mucin. So yeah, I developed Survival 2.0. I'm gonna. I'm trying to think of how I want to talk about this. So we start with Notched or Unmentioned. The idea was that Paradise Point was my last map. I was going to release that, and I wanted to do kind of a tribute to maps that I loved growing up, from the COD Zombies franchise. And when I was thinking about that, I was like, oh, let me do this map, let me do this map. And it was like, well, those maps are too big. There's a lot I would have to do. So I decided I was just going to do the first 4 maps from Call of Duty World at War, Nazi Zombies. And it's Notched or Untoten, which I renamed, Verrucht, renamed, Shinonuma, renamed, and then Dihex, which is Der Reese. And let's look at Notched real quick. And these were from the ground up, from scratch, just trying to make, like, for the most part, a complete remake of the map for Diabotical. And during this time, just blocking out the map and making it, I realized this cannot happen without a mystery box. It can't happen without perks. It can't happen without things that are from the COD Zombies mechanics. So that way when you play it, you're like, oh yeah, perks, mystery box. I recognize all this stuff. I mean, the whole idea was to release Paradise Point with these 4 maps and then do like a cross promotion, where I go to the COD Zombies community and say, hey, I recreated these maps in Diabotical with similar mechanics, similar things, and try to get them over here to play this map, or just to play these maps and to see Survival, and then to get their feedback and see what they think about Survival. But it just didn't happen, and I'll explain why. But let's just look at the map real quick. Wall weapons, just like COD Zombies. If you play COD Zombies, you just melee them, it gives you the weapon. A lot of stuff here that, like, this whole area is inspired by Cold War Zombies, where they had the outside area. But it was a big map where you could go around and explore Notched or Untoten from Diabotical's perspective. I tried to recreate it as close to the original as possible. This is where the airplane would be in the original map. There are a few side quests on this, but it's like I said, I didn't release it, so I don't know why I said that. You can't play it. But this was a lot of fun because I made the mystery box, and I made RNG before RNG happened with this game when they released it on Logic. So that was a real accomplishment. That took a lot of time and effort and stress trying to make that happen. But then we did the perk machine, and I added double jump. I added slide mechanics. I did the dash. That was like, it recharged faster and made you dash further. Movement speed increases, life steal, and all these perks are in Paradise Point, the Halloween 2022 maps. Any map that has this machine, you've got those perks. that's what I'm thankful for with Survival 2.0 is that Survival 2.0 got kind of released. Um, so you could still play with those perks and you can still experience them. But this map was so much fun to play with them on because look, it was just this big kind of playground where you were able to, you know, jump around. um, and then of course we had the crossbow introduced. We had the grenade launcher finally in Diabotical. In Archive, it was a side quest you had to complete. But in here, it was just a box weapon. It was a wall weapon. You know, you could easily access these items. Um, and this map was pretty easy to make because it was small. It was just notched during Totem. Um, but the process was really painful to make this map. There was, I mean, look at the logic stuff I had to do. This is the power up system, and I want to go into that too. I want to show you guys the amount of work that I've done to make Survival 2.0. It is no joke. But basically prototyped Survival 2.0 on this map because I wanted the perks. I wanted the RNG perk system. I wanted the RNG power up drop system. I wanted all that stuff, the mystery box. Like, so this map was the beginning of trying to work out how Survival 2.0 is going to work. How is it going to fit? So I made this. It was cool. I liked it. And then I went on to do TheRat. And all of this was during the development of Paradise Point. I think at this point I had like developed it a little bit. Paradise Point originally was going to be a an island map to kind of play into the meme of Too Good's going to his island or whatever. And so here's the island map that he's trying to get to. Um, that had to be revised. There was going to be this whole intro where it was kind of like Tiki Island style, like Hawaiian vibes. You were going to start on this thing that breaks, you fall down. There were going to be bridges that break apart. There was going to be a lot of dynamic map things that happened on Paradise Point. Changed it all to what it was today. Again, I think that was a better decision. Just like with, you know, Zweihauser in the Archive, a lot of changes happened to where the map actually just feels better. And I think simplicity for this version of the survival game mode just works better. And that's why I think these COD Zombies maps are just better for like the way survival functions now, because it's just simplicity, the simplicity of the mode. So this is TheRat. If you've played COD Zombies, World at War, Black Ops 3. Again, trying to make it as faithful as possible, just like Notched, but I can't do 1-to-1, obviously. So just trying to make it as close as possible, and this guy shit himself to death. Bloody shit, actually. Um, mystery box. Mystery box positions should be true to the original game. I wish I could have released these maps, because these are really cool. Not much to say about this. I mean, this was pretty hard to make because okay, so with this map, what's special about this map is this is where I prototyped the power system that you see in Paradise Point. This is where I prototyped it because in COD Zombies you have the hand on the switch and you flick it and then it comes on and then now you have access to the power up. So this is where I prototyped the power up system, or the power system I should say. Whereas like now you can get access to the perks and all this stuff. The main difference with this map that isn't in TheRat is you have access to the center area. In the normal version of TheRat, just you stay in the building and you run around in circles, basically. But I thought, you know, the one thing I wanted to do with these COD Zombies maps for Diabotical was try to make it to where you have some kind of open space um, to do your rocket jumping, to do your movement stuff that I think is what makes survival really good, is the movement and how you can abuse it to like avoid getting attacked. Obviously, I think AI and the attack patterns for the Zombots needs work so that it feels better. Um, but yeah, that's why this map is modified and Notched was modified to fit that kind of idea. This is kind of like a dead end. No Pack-a-Punch on this. Pack-a-Punch at this point, when I was working on Notched and Verruct, they hadn't been fully developed or even prototyped. Um, I knew I wanted to create a Pack-a-Punch because I was going to do Derice. And Derice is where the Pack-a-Punch first gets introduced in COD Zombies. Excuse me. So I knew I had to do that, but I thought, I'll get to that later. Let me do this stuff first. And so Verruct was done, Notched was done, but they're not. I've adjusted the logic for everything in Survival 2.0 to where it works the way it does now. These are like super prototyped stuff with the logic that I would have to go into and manually adjust and change and port the updated stuff into this map. And that's part of the reason why I didn't get to release these maps, is because that was going to be a lot of work. And I still had a lot of work to do to finish Shinonuma and Derice. So I had to finish Shinonuma. I had to finish blocking it out. It wasn't a lot of blocking out. There was a lot of like terrain work on that map. And then I had to do logic for the perk machines. There was this huge system I had planned for Shinonuma and Derice. Let's actually start talking about that. Let's get into that really quick. We're gonna move on to Shinonuma now. This map was a bitch. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it at all. This map was hell to make, and I didn't even finish making it. But here, let me pull back so you can see the full picture. This is the full map. 4 areas and there was a center area. So you were able to go to each kind of area on the map. As you can see, it's not done. Uh, but for the most part, it is like kind of blocked out. Um, it was just so hard because of the terrain. I had to work with the terrain and all this custom made, you know, individually put together kind of to make it look like it's from the COD Zombies era. Obviously, this isn't done. I wasn't happy with a lot of the way this looked. There was a lot of work that needed to be done here. I thought this area was good enough. This whole area for me was really cool looking, and it like made me want to finish this. The trees, I had to custom make the trees because these trees just don't look right. Like they just look lame to me. So I had to make these custom trees so that the map feels weird and like spooky, I guess, because that's kind of the vibe you get when you play the original Shinonuma. So I had to do a lot of work with that. This was just a total like I don't know, like walking through mud to make this. This was really hard too. This circular area. This was so hard to make. The only accessible area is what you see that is kind of blocked off, so you'd only have access to this area. But that outer area was where the zombies were going to be coming in from. Don't even get me started, man. This was basically going to be a huge, huge project. I'm surprised I even got this far with this project. Obviously, a lot still wasn't done. There's no mystery boxes. There's no nothing. This map had a system in the main game where whenever you'd enter a side of the map, like right here, if you entered this room, a perk would randomly spawn here. So it wouldn't just be like, oh, here's a Slurpee slide or whatever that's called. You would walk in and it would play an animation and it would be like, oh, this time you're gonna get this here. At this time you're gonna get this here. Each run would be different. So I had an idea to create the RNG necessary to have that happen. But that was like, again, I still needed to do so much detail work, so much like artwork for this map. clips, the pathing for the zombots. How were the zombots going to spawn? Where were they going to spawn? So much work needed for this needed to be done. So I was like, you know what? I have this much. I'm going to start on Darius. That's where everything kind of went to shit for me. So let's look at Darius. Darius is probably the least made, but this was where I kind of just gave up because I was super burnt out at this point. If you know Darius, classic Call of Duty Zombies map, tried to make it more like the Giant because of the giant robot and all that stuff. But this was hell to make, dude. Like, all these little things, the wires, I literally tried my best to make it as close as possible to the original map. All the pipe work that I did here, these stairs. I didn't think I was going to be able to make these stairs. I still needed to create a way for the zombots to use these stairs. Probably was going to be a tough one to do. Um, yeah, this not done in the least. But this was so hard. This was challenging. Custom made teleporter design. I have that in the archive. There's actually a different design. It doesn't look like this. These things that I made, I was super proud of this because it looks kind of close to what it looks like in Darius. Too bad I couldn't release this map. So you had all this, unfinished. Um, Come over here. This was unfinished, but still, I'm just trying to block it all out. And so much work, dude. Oh my god. This was cool though. I thought this was cool. That in the original map, this is supposed to be like a shadow of a teddy bear. And this game, for some reason, doesn't really do really good shadow work. So what I did was I took, the MacGuffin, flattened it out, and then I put um, black circle decals over it just to create the illusion of a shadow. I thought it looked pretty cool because you'd be over here, you'd be looking, you'd be like, oh, what's that shadow? Um, yeah, this was really hard. And there was still a lot of work that needed to be done with the teleporters, a lot of work that needed to be done with having the pack-a-punch right here, and um, I wanted to do the fly trap Easter egg from the original map. I wanted to do one where you unlock the perk here, which was a reference to the giant. Um, yeah, this was super hard, and I was fatigued as hell after Shinonuma. And oh yeah, here's the new design of the teleporter, and I have this in the archive map. Like if you see things here, you're like, oh, that would be cool to put in your map. I have it all in this archive map. Where is it? Right here. Jodge's archive. I'm gonna release this soon. It has tons of like prefabs that I used in like all of my maps, and we'll look at that today so you can see all the shit I've used. But yeah, this was the map that killed me because I was like, I can't do it. This is a fully custom made clock right here that I made. Um, this was actually really cool to make because I was like, I need a clock that looks like the clock in the game. Designed it, made it. This was cool. Like, out of everything in this map that I did, I love this clock. This clock is cool, dude. Some of it's a little misaligned, but come on. I'm so tired at this point. This is my greatest achievement on this map. Um, but yeah. At this point I was like, I don't care about this shit. I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. I just did Survival 2.0. I just did Notch, Paradise Point, Verruct, almost finished or like halfway, maybe 25% with Shino Numa, and at this point, I'd consider this like 15% with Dear Reese. And there was so much more that I had to do. I just said, fuck it. Fuck it. You know, I am so tired. I don't want to lose mental health, related things just because I want to create these maps. So scrapped it all, which was painful, but saved me some trouble. And yeah, now all these maps are kind of just they're archived. They're officially archived. Um, yeah, you may have seen me stream, working on this and trying to get it all done, and it's just like it is a pain in the ass. It was such a pain in the ass. I like where it is though. It'd be cool to like maybe one day come back, but it's like thinking about that gives me like the shivers down my spine. Like, oh God, please no. I don't want to work with this editor anymore. I've spent 3 years working with this editor making survival maps, and it's just been super painful because there's a lot of stuff you have to learn, you have to do, you have to know, you have to figure out. The documentation isn't full. You have to kind of like pick your own brain for solutions, and oh my God, the workarounds that I have to do. Don't even get me started. I'm just glad I made that call, did Paradise Point, released it, called it a day. Because the problem too was it was already a year in the making with Paradise Point, and then I was doing this, which could have easily taken me another year. I didn't want to do that. That was too long for a new survival map, and I didn't think anybody was really going to be playing them anyway. You know, so that was kind of like, like I love survival. I know there's people out there who might love survival, but is it really worth it, to make this and put me through this? I don't think so. I think my mental health has to come first. So, scrapped. But the one thing that came out of it that I was very proud of, which Survival 2.0. I mean, come on, you had the perks now. You've got the pack a punch. You've got the smiley box, and I think those are great additions to survival, just like in general. Great additions to survival. Um, really makes the mode feel better to me, I think. House of the Fragged. House of the Fragged was going to be part of the Paradise Point release. It was going to be a really small like house map where the zombies come into one area and you just have to defend the house. It was going to be a mystery box in here, um, the perk RNG machine here, and then I think the Oval Mucin was going to be up here. Never happened because it's like I just gave up, like I said, because I'm such a fucking quitter. Um, this would have been cool, but again, like, is it worth it? I don't know. This is a map that I would definitely come back and finish if like people really wanted a super simple map like this that was just sit in a room and shoot down a corridor while they all funnel in. Sure, this would be super easy because I'll just create trees everywhere and throw the perks in and whatever. Like keep it really simple. No Easter eggs because fuck that. Too much logic work for such a simple map like this. But this this would be this would be something I'd come back to just because it's so simple. Let's see. What should I talk about next? Should I talk about egg gods? That has nothing to do with survival. I'll tell you that right now. But maybe I'll talk about that. We'll see. Um, trap testing. I wanted to do traps for Shinonuma, where you'd trigger something and then they'd go on cooldown and they'd kill zombots while it was up. I was able to do that for Halloween 2022. You'd have a thing that you'd trigger it, a floor would open up, and the zombots would fall in, and they'd path into it. Uh, but yeah, you can't kill zombots like with a trigger volume. You can't. I've tried it. I've done everything within my power to do that. So it was almost like a waste of time. Power up logic, part of Survival 2.0, as you can see all the logic that was needed to make that happen. Mystery box, quite a bit of logic here that needed to make that happen. Um, the perk testing where we had each perk uh, machine designed and the logic related to that. And there was going to be this whole thing with Shinonuma where you'd walk in the water, which was the swamp, and it would slow you down. There needed to be testing with, because if you had Gatorade, the perk that makes you run faster, we didn't want you to run. I didn't want you to run too fast in the swamp. But if you had Gatorade, maybe it would be like a little bit faster because you had the perk. Obviously, Shinonuma never happened, so that never got tested fully. Um, Genesis, maybe I'll talk about that later too. Revive testing, I wanted to see if there's a way you can revive teammates. Didn't work. Light testing, just testing lights. Logic 3 trigger. This was for like the idea of if you trigger A, B, and C, instead of doing it in the order of A, B, and C, that you could trigger like CAB or BAC and you'd still get the same outcome. So that was what this was about. It was testing how that works. It works. This system here, if you ever want to use it for a map where you're like, you have to trigger these three things, but you don't have to do it in any specific order, you can go to this map in tutorial and it'll show you how to do it. It won't explain it. You'll have to look at it. But it's here. It works. I think you just melee the statues. Or shoot them, I don't know. The weapon upgrade logic. Okay, so the weapon upgrade logic. I would love to talk about this. This was crazy. I didn't know how to make, like, how do you make a system where you make the weapons stronger? This was the biggest problem with Survival 2.0. I somehow figured it out. Um, damage victim. So basically, you need to run this logic on game start, add default tags to all players. This is how you make weapons stronger, and this is how you adjust weapon damage. This is how you do it, because I figured it out. And it was really stupid hard. And this is for survival. It's probably easier for PvP, because PvP, everything's easier when it comes to the logic. But this is how you do it for survival. You had to add default tags as your main baseline. And then you had to use Team 0 as forbidden tags, because when zombots spawn on game start, they get default tags too. So you give default tags to the players and to the zombots. The zombots are considered players. They're Team 0, so they get the Team 0 tag. The whole process of learning all this and how it worked and all that was such a pain in the ass, but it worked out. It was obviously it's a lot simpler than the power-up RNG system. It's a lot simpler than the Smiley Box RNG system. But it was just the process of trying to figure it out that was super tough. So the reason why Team 0 has to be in Forbidden Tags is because if you use this setup where you trigger Ovomucin, the player gets upgrade. So their weapons are upgraded once they have this tag. And they're going to make use of these logic entities to inflict increased damage to the enemy. And for melee, I think, yeah, it was melee, you were going to do 1,000 damage on a hit. I think it's only 50, but now you're doing 1,000, or maybe it's 1,050. I'm still not sure how like it all balances out. Is it adding to the 50? Is it adjusting the 50? Not sure. Don't really care. But target player is victim, and this is why you needed to have the forbidden tags, because the zombots could have upgraded damage too. And majority of the time, the zombots are using melee. So there was a kind of a trial and error where it was like, okay, I thought the zombots weren't players, so default tags, give my team the upgrade required tags, do all this, and boom, we're good. But for some reason, the zombots, even though they didn't have the required tag, were still doing the 1,000 damage on hit. And I don't know if that's something to do with target players. I have no idea. It was just happening. So that's why I had to do the default tag add for everybody and then have forbidden tags Team 0, which means all the zombots do not get to use this at all. And now only the player that has the upgrade will be able to have the upgraded damage. And so we had the machine gun, we have the blaster. All the weapons have upgraded damage, and that's what's cool about Ovomucin. What separates it from Pack-a-Punch from COD Zombies was that once you activated Ovomucin, everyone on the team would have it, and all your weapons would be upgraded and would have upgraded damage. Um, it would just make your weapons stronger overall. The downside, though, is that alt fire doesn't work. For some reason, alt fire, I don't think they thought that through with like the logic for this. Like shotgun does 200 damage. If you primary fire in survival, you have Ovomucin, you insta kill the enemy. If you alt fire doesn't get any of these upgrades for some reason. It's something they is like an oversight they didn't really think about. Um, and on top of that, the other thing that sucks, like the pincer, um, 300 damage should be instant kill on hit with the pincer. It does not work like when it, because the pincer travels through enemies. It's only the first enemy that gets hit that will deal the 300 damage instant kill. The enemies that like are collateraled, they don't get that. They get whatever. The thing is I don't know what system they're using, but it's like separate damage systems for the subsequent hits. Like with the shotgun, same situation. Because you have multiple pellets, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to use my 300 damage to kill multiple enemies. And there's like, let's say there's a bunch of zombots in front of you. You shoot the shot. Only one zombot is going to take that full, what was it, like 300? 200 damage and instantly be killed. The rest of them are going to take base damage from the gun. So it doesn't make any sense how they did all this system. I don't know if I need multiple shotguns for each pellet. I don't know if I need. I don't know how any of that works. But to me, that system's whack. It's whack. Each pellet has its own like damage and like I don't know. But that's why like this is as good as it gets for weapon damage increase. This is as good as it's gonna get for this system because I have no idea how they. I don't know if it's like a hard coded thing. I have no idea. Even with the rocket launcher, same situation. The AOE only affects I think one enemy. The rest get the base damage of the rocket launcher, and the rocket launcher should be instant kill after you get the upgrade. Um, Sadly, the void cannon alt fire doesn't work. Doesn't get the upgrade, even though that's the best way to use the weapon. It would be sick to throw alt fire, shoot it, and then you get the upgraded damage, kills everybody in the area, 200 damage flat. Doesn't work that way. Only the base shot, the primary fire shot, gets the upgrade. Um, Grenade launcher's the same way with the AoE. I think it has to be direct hit now that I think about it. For the rocket launcher and the grenade launcher, for them to have the full damage effect. Don't know, don't care. This is how it works. This is the best I can do, folks. I feel like I'm working with rocks and sticks when I'm working with the editor here sometimes. At least with this, that's how it feels. It's like really tough work, and I think from what I've done here, as good as it's gonna get. But that was a huge accomplishment to get it to work, because I mean, Jesus Christ, what a what a fucking uphill battle that was. So that's pretty much all of Survival 2.0. I mean, I didn't show off the logic for Mystery Box. You don't need to see it. It's not that interesting. Power up drop. There's a lot going on here, but it's really just redundant stuff because there's 100 power up like randomizations. 100 power ups, as you can see, all part of like stacks of them. So it's just redundant stuff going on in there. Um, Nebula. Let's talk about Nebula real quick. This is a dual map that I made for the little contest, whatever, that happened in the mapping community recently. This has a main quest. It's an impossible quest. There's no side quests here. Again, if you weren't here for earlier in the stream, I know it's Easter Day, whatever. if you're looking for like an Easter egg hunt in this game, I have multiple survival maps that have Easter egg quests. Some of them have been solved, but a lot of them haven't. A lot of the side quests haven't been solved. The archive main quest has not been solved. Paradise Point was just released, has a main quest unsolved still, and then you got this map, Nebula, which has what I like to call an impossible quest. Super impossible to solve, and I hope it never gets solved. But yeah, I made this for the duel thing. Um, yeah, I don't really care about duel. If I'm being completely honest, I really don't care. I love watching it. I think it's fun to watch. I think people who are talented at making duel maps is really cool. I don't care for playing it. I'm not a fan of playing it. Um, but yeah, so I decided to add an impossible quest to this map. There was going to be a lot more to this map, like asteroids flying outside. Just too much work. I didn't care because I wanted to try to get back to work on the COD Zombie remake maps, which obviously didn't work out. Um, just a lot with this map where I was like, this was a lot of work, and I don't know why I put so much work into this map. Because I look at the map that won, and I'm like, wow, I wish I had just not added this much detail, because there really was no point in adding this much detail, like with the props and all these little things going on. Because the winner, like, it's simplistic, it's great. I'm glad they won. It's just like, fuck, I wasted tons of time adding all this stupid detail. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my style though. I love detail like this, where I'm trying to like just, I don't know, make it visually cluttered. I don't. I mean, I don't know. Someone can tell me what they think about this, and if it's visually cluttered, great. If not, I don't care. This is just my style. This is basically Star Station for Duel. This is basically what I was going for. And I like it. I think this is really cool. I love this weird shit here, with the crystals, because it's all part of like the lore that I was explaining with the crystals and all that crap. Um, it does damage, and yeah, like I said, main quest was probably the main point for this. This was a lot of fun. The main quest, or the impossible quest to make. Um, Animation. No point in having that animation. Just a lot of useless random shit that really just why why did you add so much random shit? I don't know. The water. I don't know. It was cool while I was making it. It was cool like thinking about it. So I just went with it. I like it. I think it's very creative. Um, yeah, I don't know what the hell else to say about it. I don't like Duel. That's really all I can say. I did this because I thought, I'll just be another head in the contest, be another entry. Give the organizers something to look at, something to think about. The block out for this map was really cool. And I do love the way the winner, like the design looks. It's really cool. It's totally um, like that style, really cool. Really love that style. Um, I think it's called. Are they playing it? Nah. What's it called? Probably somewhere here. Moonstone. No. There it is. Forspoken. Cool map. Go play it. DH called the guy who won the thingy. Very cool map. I love it. I love the colors, the strong colors. Um, so yeah, that's Nebula. Impossible Easter egg quest. If you really want to try it, go ahead and give it a go. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to need 2 players. It's a 2-player requirement map for the Easter egg. So if you're going to hunt for that, you're going to want to get a friend to help you. Hellmouth, after I scrapped, take a look at this. After I scrapped the COD Zombies maps, I still wanted to try to release another map with Paradise Point. Hellmouth I made a long time ago. I think I was going to release Hellmouth with Cabin in the Canyons, I think. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. I just know this is an old, yeah, or Zweihaus, because those foggy spawn points was a Zweihaus era thing. And this was super simple, obviously before Survival 2.0. This was just a basic map. I really struggled to get navigation to work with this. Luckily, I got it to work. I got some help from some people on the dev side. They explained to me how certain things work. Uh, there's a way you can like limit navigation so that it processes the pathing like faster, so it doesn't do like the whole map. It just does like the section where the playable area is. It sucks. The way that it works sucks, but I figured it out. Even after they explained it to me while I was working on this map, I didn't get it. I had to figure it out much later. I think during Halloween 2022, I encountered it again, and I was like, I had to reach out and be like, "What the hell's going on?" And I figured it out. It's just really dumb. But the problem with this map is the pathing right here. They don't like going up, stairs like this, and I have no idea how to make it to where they're happy with going upstairs like this. They get bunched up right here, and this is the only way you can really get up to this second, what would you call it, the second story? I don't know, this elevated area. So I had to scrap that idea. I wasn't about to fucking mess around with the navigation and the ramp and all that crap. I was just, like I said, burned out at this point. I was gonna do this as like, oh, no work involved kind of thing, but let me check the navigation. Nope, doesn't work. Scrapped. But there is another version of this that I like a lot more. Yes, this one. I love this. Like all this open stuff to like start rocket jumping around, and I love all this stuff where you can just do a lot of bunny hopping. Like this, super cool. I love this. This actually probably could have worked. I think the zombots were pretty. Do I have spawns here? I actually would love to see this. I didn't even bother testing this because there's no lighting. And I don't know if the power-up's over here. Yeah, no, I'd have to add the power-up, but see if it works. Let's see, this is what I deal with. Like, why are they stopping? Let's find out. Oh, because there's no pathing here. Like, why? I probably ran navigation, and this is what came out. Like, why isn't the pathing going out there? Oh, you know what? This. Oh my god, look. Okay, see how it all cuts off right there? That's part of this. Whatever the hell this is. Where to go? This? No, not this. Where the fuck? Yeah, I have no idea where it is. But it's basically a little tiny freaking entity. Just like this tiny little thumbnail. That there's 2 of them. So this is how the freaking navigation thing that I was explaining earlier works. It cuts off right there because somewhere along this line there's a freaking entity that is limiting the navigation from going beyond those lines. And when I was working on the navigation for this map, I was like, why is this happening? This is dumb. And when they explained it to me, they were like, there are these two entities. You put them on like in a box, one super down low, one super high up, and they're kind of in a box. They're like angular, and they create the box for the map and the navigation and all that crap. And I was like, okay, well, let me move the box. And I ran navigation, tried it, it doesn't work. And then I was like, what's happening? So what ends up happening is when you move that box, you have to save and reset the map and then run navigation and then save and then reset the map again, I think, so that it takes or something stupid like that, man. And when I first did it, I didn't know any of that. I did testing during Halloween 2022 to fix that and make it work, and I figured it out. But it's like when they were explaining it to me, I don't even think they knew that that's how that worked. They thought you just adjusted it, ran the navigation, it works. No. You have to adjust it, save, reset, run navigation, save, reset, and then it takes. Like super convoluted and just stupid. Anyway, yeah, that's why this map doesn't work, and obviously, I'm not releasing that. I don't want to work on it. So I think we've talked about everything survival related. So now I can talk about other things. Actually, really quick, let me show you the archive. Excuse me. And then we'll talk about some of these other maps that are here that won't get released. Kunka Town. Let me show the archive off. So this is the archive. This is everything that I've done for survival with assets, prefabs. Here's the clock. Here's a keyboard with everything on it, a true to life keyboard. Fully prefabbed. A lot of things from Paradise Point are here. Stairs, sandbag, barbed wire. I didn't prefab these guys. I won't. I should. This is pieces, prefabbed pieces, so that way it's more like mobile. Yeah. You've got this launch pad, you've got this rocket, and then you've got the teleporter, you've got the silo you could take and use. All this stuff, the ancient elements, purity, flame, water. Like if you want to create a survival map, you want to use this stuff, you can. We've got poses for the zombots. This is how I did a lot of the videos, where you'd see these poses of the zombots fighting players. I put together the boomer chucker. I created new versions. Some trees. Here are the crystals that you could use and take. Just the asset for the mystery box. If you wanted the actual logic and all that extra stuff, you go to the tutorial for the smiley box, golem of the goddess. Oh yeah, and giant egg portal. If you didn't notice that. But yeah, this is the archive. I'm gonna release this soon. Prefabbed televisions with good studio on them. I think these can be resized to your liking. Cannon, stove, fire pit, chair, crane, weeb carrier, truck, table, mobile crane, stationary crane. A lot of just stuff that you could use for your own maps if you wanted to. All these little things. The lights, the cameras, if you just want to come in and grab the cameras. Intro trailer. And intro trailer. I don't think it should read intro trailer. Whatever. And then here are the spawns for zombots and stuff like that. For the survival mode. Yeah. So this is it. Nothing too crazy. converted items that look like, stuff that you can pick up. These are the armors that were changed. Have some spice in your map. Add a different looking armor. Um, yeah, I'm gonna release this sometime soon. I don't know when. Egg Gods was basically going to be a MOBA style map, game mode thing. I'm probably not going to finish that. I want to kind of finish it just to release it, but who's going to play that shit? Zombot Fortress was basically Zombot Survival before Zombot Survival, or Zombot Versus happened, or Survival Versus, whatever. It was basically going to be a MacGuffin mode where there's only one base and the survivors have to go into the Zombot base, grab the MacGuffin, bring it to the center of the map, which is where the cap point is, and then the Zombots have to try to capture the MacGuffin and hold on to it. And so Zombots would win if time ran out and the survivors couldn't finish capping it. And obviously survivors would win if they got the full cap and they were able to get 100 coins. So that was kind of interesting. I still like that idea. That would be cool. The whole thing though was that there would be kind of like loadouts, and you'd have to choose like a survivor kind of class, and you'd get these weapons, you'd get these Wii balls. Same for the Zombots. You'd get a certain set of weapons, a certain set of health and power, and stuff like that. And so that could probably work still, but I don't really want to work on it. That's something that would be cool in the official at the official level. Like that's something they develop and make happen. That would be a lot more interesting in like a versus setting with either 3v3 or 4v4. Guffin Manor was a throwaway MacGuffin map. Survival Versus, if you've played that, me and Ernie worked on that. Uh, Obviously, it's Hellmouth, but redesigned for a versus kind of mode. Egg Royale, Battle Royale, basically. That was originally a survival map called Town that never got made, repurposed into an Egg Royale style map. I don't even think Battle Royale would work for this game, like at all. Um, this was going to be like a capture the flag map that was essentially had a huge Easter egg in it. Indignation was going to be another survival versus map. Never happened. Um, Anything else? Anything else? No, not really. So I mean, that's pretty much it. Nothing much else to say about survival. We've gone through everything. Multiplayer trigger is what was used on Nebula. You need 2 players to activate both triggers. Um, if you're like, oh, that's a cool thing, I want to use it, you can come to this map in the tutorial section and use it. But yeah, there's not much else to go through. I actually want to look at this really quick. Egg Gods. Like I said, this was supposed to be like a MOBA style map. It's actually more inspired by Smite's arena mode, where it's this one map, kind of a circular situation like this, 3 buffs that you could use or get to. I just didn't know how it was going to work. I wasn't sure because there's usually like a sub objective. The main objective would be to get kills, and then there's supposed to be like a sub objective. And I was thinking like, oh, like you got to capture these points to get the buffs. They're captured for like a period of time, and then they reset, and then both teams can go to capture them to get the buff again. But then there's like these sub capture points down here in the main area, maybe one right there, that you could fight over Like, yeah, you got to get kills to get points, but if you capture the position, you'll also passively get like 1 point. Maybe kills are like 2 points, and then holding capture positions for a certain amount of time gives you 1 point. And then if enough time passes, this center area will spawn like an actual power up, maybe Vanguard, something like that. I just didn't know like how to do any of that. Like, how would any of that work? Like, should there be classes? How would the weapons work? Do you just, everybody has the machine gun, but how do you get like a rocket launcher? How do you get a pincer? I wasn't sure how any of that was going to work and stuff. And of course, I was gonna try to incorporate the Wii balls somehow and have RNG Wii balls set up and each on each side with something like that. Like, I just didn't know how any of that was going to work. One idea was that this would be a power weapon, or maybe at the top would be a power weapon. It's like RNG between the three power weapons, pincer, shaft, and rocket. This would give you RNG between blaster, shotgun, and well, you already have the machine gun. So blaster, shotgun, and I don't know, something else. Maybe just blaster and shotgun. Who knows? And then this one would be another set of like crossbow, grenade launcher, and what was it, void cannon. Like, they're not buffs, but they're weapons that you can use in the battle. And I didn't like the RNG idea, so I was trying to figure that out again. I don't know. I mean, this was a really far out there idea. This probably would be very weird in practice. On paper, it's interesting. In practice, it's just like, I don't know if this would hit or miss. I think it would probably be a little bit of both, where it's like maybe some people would like it, but majority of people would just kind of be like, "What the hell is this crap?" Um, and then the whole process of logic and all that crap and trying to make it work, like, I couldn't be bothered, couldn't be asked to make that work. It's uh, Zombot. You know what's funny? Actually, I want to tell you guys a story. Zombot Fortress Beta broke the servers when I first playtested it with Purs. Me and Purs would playtest this. Super funny. We playtested it, and I don't know what was with the logic where it was like when the match ended, the servers crashed for the game, the whole game. I remember playing it and thinking, "Oh, okay, we're done. Let's do it. Let's run it back. Let's playtest it again." We would go into it and we were like, we can't launch the match. We can't launch the lobby. We can't add each other back into a lobby. Like, we're gonna create a new one. And we were like, what's going on? And then we'd go to the main page right here and it would just be empty. And there were matches before we started that were here. It would just be empty. And then I'd go to the Discord and people were like, what happened? I can't play. I got kicked or whatever. And then they'd reset it. The devs would be like, we're going to reset it. It's fixed. You guys can play again. And then I went into it. I was like, okay, Purs, they fixed the servers. Let's go into it again. We would do it again, and then the servers crashed again after the match. And then that's when I realized I have the power to destroy. I have so much power in the editor that I destroyed the servers, crashed their servers. So funny. But I think I told Raven about it. I pretty much explained what we were doing, explained how the logic was working, my like hypothesis of what was happening. They fixed it. The map, I fixed the map itself, but I still tested the other one because it's funny. I tested the other one again after they fixed what we were doing. Doesn't work anymore. Cannot crash the servers. Um, so I trashed that map, remade it, fixed whatever bugs was in there, and now it's here as this. It was funny because it was published, so anybody could have gone into that map, played it, and like crashed the servers. To me, that's super funny. Super funny. Oh yeah, Scrambled Prologue. This was supposed to be like a single player campaign thing. Not good because the AI sucks if you're not doing survival. They just suck. Um, Town was supposed to be released like probably during Paradise Point as a final map. Takes place I think after Star Station or during. I don't know. All that will be written in the stupid doc. I think that's it. I think that's literally everything. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. Wanted to make a video or like a stream. I'm gonna put this on like YouTube or something. So that way it's just there. Because I don't want to fucking talk about this ever again. Or like go through all this. Because this is a lot of stuff. I just want to almost like document it. Oh, Genesis. Oh my god. But yeah, I'm gonna post this to YouTube and have it archived. Genesis was going to be a payday style map where there's like things you have to do, objectives, and the AI and all that stuff, but the AI sucks. And it was going to be a crazy map, but I gave up because it's like, this is too much. Way too much. Uh, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That's everything. That's. I think that's it for me. Pretty much talked for 2 hours about this stuff. I mean, there was a lot to talk about, but I wanted to talk about this because it's like, this is it kind of thing where I'm wrapping up my time with Diabotical. I'm wrapping up my time with Survival. I'm going to move on to other things. When I stream from now on, I'm probably not going to play Diabotical. Probably not going to talk about Diabotical. Because I did this stream, I talked about everything I did with Survival, everything I did with Diabotical. I went through it. It's all wrapped up with a nice bow on it, and I kind of want to do other things now. Um, okay, so like with MacGuffin though, like I'm still open to hosting events with MacGuffin. The problem is I have to see that there's like demand for it, that there's a lot of players that want that, like a tournament, that there's a lot of players that want like to play. So like that's why I'm not doing a lot of MacGuffin stuff, even though I said I would. I don't see a lot of people wanting to play MacGuffin, even when like we've hosted a few, not a lot, not like we used to, but we've hosted a few MacGuffin like get-togethers where we're like posting on the Discord, "Hey, come play MacGuffin. We've got some um, pickups open in the game." Or other people will do it. They'll say we've got pickups open, and they just can't get matches. Even though they ping the players in the server and they're trying to like get people involved, it's just not happening. And that's why it's like, well, why would I make a tournament where nobody's going to show up or there isn't a lot of involvement in the community side of things? You know, like because in order to do a tournament, and when we did the tournaments and the leagues uh, back in the days, we had a lot of player involvement with Discord server. We had a lot of pickups going, and people wanted it, so we did it. Now it's like, you know, we all know the game is dead. It's not getting a lot of support from the devs. People aren't really playing it. MacGuffin suffers because of that. Survival, you know, not a lot of people play my maps, which is fine. I get it. Um, but it's like that's why I'm done with survival. I'm open to keep doing MacGuffin stuff, but there has to be players there to fill the slots when we do the MacGuffin stuff and the tournaments and stuff. So yeah, I think that's it. Um, Anything else that I want to talk about? MGL videos are almost done being fully uploaded. I have been uploading them to my YouTube, the league videos, the streams. I think I'm on the last week right now. Again, the reason why I never was keeping up with that survival was constantly being worked on, like almost too much. But those are almost done. I'm not sure, like if anybody can like go to my YouTube and like see if they see it, because I see that there's like a set of like a playlist or whatever. Because I tried to just put it all into a playlist in order from the beginning first few weeks. I think it starts at week 2 until the last week, and I can't tell if there's like people can't see it because I have them like unlisted. I don't think that's because I thought if I put it unlisted that it would still you'd still be able to see the playlist and watch them on the playlist. I might have to ask someone to look at that and let me know if I have to make them public because I don't know how YouTube works completely. You know, I don't know how a lot of this stuff works. I just know how to use it, so I'll have to figure that out. But that's almost done. All the videos are almost there. I think I just have 2 more videos from the last week to upload, and then that's all done. People can go back and watch all that if they want. But yeah, that has to be it. That has to be it. I don't have much else to say. There's not much else to talk about. Um, yep. So gonna upload the archive one of these days. Gonna finish writing the survival document one of these days. Gonna be doing other stuff now. So thanks again to everybody for all the memories with survival and all that stuff. Um, like I said, still want to do MacGuffin stuff, but there's got to be people there who want to do it too, because it's a 3v3 thing. It's not just what the heck does this? I didn't even see this yet. Shut down. Stopped providing services due to regulatory and legal restrictions. Ouch. Ouch. That's a burn. I didn't. Was there a freaking? Where was that? Was it Russia? Was that the EU, Asia? Where what? Hold on, where was that? We need to Google that now. That is in Russia. I don't remember that ever being a server. I used to look at these every now and again. I don't remember that ever being a server in Russia. Pretty funny. All right, guys, I'm done. Uh, I was gonna try to host something with um, whatever. I was gonna do Diabotical hosting. I was gonna play another game. Maybe we'll do that some other time in the future. Um, because I'm gonna be doing a lot more casual streaming now. There's a lot of games that I want to play. Um, I want to stream Payday 2. I want to stream um like Sheer and the Wanderer. There's a lot of games that I want to play and that I would love to stream and to like upload them to my YouTube. Like do something different. Um, so that'll be moving forward what I'm going to do. So my channel might go through a series of changes with the direction. So just putting that out there so people understand that that's going to be happening. I don't know when, it's whenever I feel like playing a game and streaming it and all that crap. So I will see you guys next time when I do that. Take care. Stay safe.